Hello everyone, welcome back to another 2v2 Warhammer battle. This is going to be the Vampire Counts and Norska versus 2 Empire players. For me, my main line is made up of 3 Graveguard, 1 Skeletal Warrior, we also have a Crypt Ghoul back here, 2 Fellbats, and then a Vargeist, 1 Banshee to snipe casters on the ground, of which the enemy has no casters on the ground. They only have 1 caster and that person is in the air. Being led by Manfred von Karstein on a flying mount right here. We also have a Feasters in the Dusk over here, Vanguard deployed, Chillgeist, and Blood Knights. For my ally, we have 3 Mammoths, 2 Feral, and 1 Marauder Chieftain on a Mammoth, a line of Marauder Berserkers, 2 Marauder Javelins, a Shaman Sorcerer of Fire, and then 3 Skin Wolves over there. Then for the Empire, we have, over on this flank, 2 Demigryph Knights, 1 with Halberd, 1 without, and we have another Demigryph Knight over here that also does not have Halberds. The main line here is, for 1 player, we have Spears, Swords, and Halberds. You can see exactly what they are. It's a whole bunch of very cheap infantry on the front line. In terms of their elite infantry, we have, I think, 3 Greatsword units. 1 right here, 1 right here, and 1 right here. But everything else is a mixture between halberds, spears, and we have a couple swords over there. They're being led by Karl Franz and Boris Todbringer. We have only 1 cannon in the group. We have 1 caster with the Jade Wizard on a flying mount. They did bring the Dwellers Below and Awakening of the Wood, so I know not to try and clump up as best I can. And then we have, I think, 4 crossbows back here. And then no rifles. The only guns we have are the Free Company Militia, and that is it. So right now, I'm going to be marching out my forces, my infantry forces that is, to try and engage the Free Company Militia. I'm going to swing my flyers over here, going to swing my 2 Cav over here, Feasters of the Dusk over here, and Manfred over here. I want to try and line up a Winds of Death spell. My ally is going to go straight forward into the other enemy player, and they're going to be engaging the Demigryph Knights, I believe, out here on the flanks with these Skin Wolves. Gonna get shot up here in just a moment. And again, I was hoping we were going to be able to catch a caster on the ground. So now this Banshee doesn't really have that much to do besides try and kill a bunch of like cheap infantry or greatswords. So here we go, the 3 Skin Wolf engagement versus the 2 Demigryph Knights. Again, 1 with halberd, 1 without. As my front line is going to be shot up by the Free Company Militia. Honestly, right here, I probably should have just thrown my flying units into this Free Company, but I was trying to be, like, I was in the surrounding tactic mode, and I wanted to get everything around everyone. But again, yes, so on the initial charge, the Skin Wolves were kind of losing, but they also have these Demigryph Knights outnumbered. This one in a straight-up 1v1 will lose, but these 2 ganging up in this one are going to win this engagement. Because now these Demis do not have their charge bonus right now, and you can see that they're actually trying to withdraw, getting more free hits. Meanwhile, we have 3 Mammoths that are just plowing into this person's front line, so that's not going to be good for that player, because they don't really have much over here to fight them except for Karl Franz, who really shouldn't be 1v1ing 3 Mammoths. The other Demigryph Knight here is going to get my Crypt Ghouls, which is fine, it's alright. And then we're going to engage the Spear line. Manfred's going to try and cast a Winds of Death right here. And while I'm doing that, you can see that my flying units are not going to be micro right now. And then I was so concerned about micro my flying units that I cast Winds of Death before he stopped moving. So on the initial angle, it was going to go, but I wasn't factoring in that he was going to keep moving, and I needed to move my flying units because I could see Boris Todbringer engaging against these far guys. And so I didn't hit that well with the Winds of Death, and I'm very upset at myself. Also, I was panicked when I saw Boris charge my far guys, and I didn't charge them in return. So I was like, shit, we gotta do something with them, or else they're just gonna die in the air. And Manfred's Winds of Death paid for that. But in the meantime, our 3 Graveguard, or 2 Graveguard and Skeletal Warrior over here are going to be doing, or actually, no, those are all 3 Graveguard, are going to be doing well against the Spearmen. The 3 Mammoths are doing, well, pretty much as well as you can expect them to do against a lot of cheap infantry of the Empire. And, you know, Karl got here, just got pummeled. Going to do rear charges with our Blood Knights right into the back of these halberds, which is pretty good. Meanwhile, the Chill guys are going to try and give it to these Greatswords. Going to give them help with the Vargeist. I'm going to try and cast an Invocation spell on to try and keep them in combat as long as possible. Manfred is just over here assisting the front line, gaining some Winds of Magic with his unique item. And then we're going to just be casting Invocation on the Heck, Van Heel's Dance Macabre, and we're going to cast some summons here on the Free Company Militia here soon. Meanwhile, yeah, those Mammoths are just wrecking havoc on this very cheap Empire line right around there. The Skin Wolves, I think, finished off the 2 Demigryph Knights. Oh, they're in the process. There they go. They're finishing off that Demigryph Knight. The other Demigryph Knights, I think, charged into the Mammoths and died. You can see we have a Dweller spell going down on these Berserkers. A lot of damage, but that's not the thing that's really killing them, the Berserkers, that is. And so now the Mammoths are just running amok. I am now into the Free Company Militia. My Blood Knights are charging into the cannon emplacement. I think the Banshee's on the cannon emplacement. Now I'm going to switch her to fight Boris Topbringer, who decided to land on Manfred von Karstein. So what I did was cast some Raised Dead to try and keep him pinned down, getting the Banshee over there, and now I'm going to disengage my Blood Knights and go after Boris Topbringer as we safely withdraw Manfred von Karstein, because now he is engaged against a bunch of melee forces. Meanwhile, Manfred's just going to be like, well, I'm just going to go over here and fight these Free Company Militia and continue gaining wins of magic. Just kind of slowly heal over time. Now you can see that we have a Pharaoh Mammoth on our side. Shield guys are going to be going over here to assist against these Great Swords. The Feasters of the Dust have been fighting against the Great Swords and Halberdiers throughout this entire battle. So we're going to give them some help here with these Shield guys, because they do armor piercing. And then the other Empire player is just in a full rout, because they had 3 Mammoths to contend with, and they... Oh, I guess Karl Franz is still alive. Barely hanging on, but almost died to the Marauder Chieftain. Meanwhile, back here, the Banshee and the Blood Knights are doing a lot of good damage to Boris Topbringer. Meanwhile, Manfred, again, is just safe fighting these Free Company Militia. They're not going to be able to bring him down. Going to cast Invocation of the Heck to try and keep our Blood Knights up. I think I already did. Yeah, I already did that. Sorry, and that one was actually a Duelist from Below spell. But we're going to disengage the zombies, I think both of these are. Oh, no, I guess the Graveguard got caught in that as well. So they caught one of our important units. And now that Boris is on the route, I'm going to throw Manfred von Karstein to chase him out, and then we're going to eventually disengage all these other ground units because we don't need them to chase out Boris Topbringer, because Manfred is more than capable of doing that himself. As we continue to route the Empire Infantry over here, Mammoth's helping us over here. It's not looking super good for the 2 Empire players at this point. We do have a lot of units just kind of hanging out here. I think they do eventually start moving back towards the fight. But again, as I said, I'm going to be disengaging all these units, and we're just going to continue to chase Boris Topbringer with Manfred. And now, the Empire runs. They didn't really have too much to deal, or at least that one player did not have much to deal, or have anything to really deal with, I should say. The 3 Mammoths that were plowing through their very cheap swords and spears. Even though spears are anti-large, I've said this before, like, almost any anti-large infantry has no chance against Mammoths. Like, Chosen with halberds can kind of stand up to them for a little bit. But most anything else just gets utterly destroyed pretty quickly. As was shown here, a bunch of cheap infantry was not enough to hold us back. Also, that like all the cheap infantry really wasn't protecting much. If you want to spam a bunch of cheap infantry, you're usually supporting like a very strong artillery base or like a bunch of handgunners. But the cheap infantry was protecting crossbows and a single cannon. So you willingly get very cheap infantry that's going to die to us. And then they're supporting pretty cheap and weak ranged units. So those 2 things together, though very numerous, are not going to be able to achieve too much. Although here the Free Company Militia actually did get a decent amount of kills against us. I don't know if that was zombies or if they were sniping Graveguard. I'm not entirely sure. But for our forces, Graveguard did really well. Chill guys 79 kills. Feasters got 79 kills, which is pretty good. Blood Knights 87. My flying force didn't really do too much. The Vargas got focused down by Boris Topbringer because of my miss micro there, and my dazed expression as I saw Winds of Death just go out and like get nothing. I was so devastated. For my ally here, 160 kills on the Marauder Chieftain, over 100, almost over 150 on both the other Pharaoh Marauders. Berserkers are so much better than almost anything the Empire can bring in terms of infantry. The only thing that can stand up to them are the Great Swords, but there are not enough of those to stop them in this case. The Marauder Hunters, who actually, with the hot patch, the Marauder Hunters with Javelins now 500 with less ammo, so they're 100 more. The Skin Wolves are 100 more. The Armored Skin Wolves are 100 more, and the Mauls of Savagery are 200 more. So Norska kind of got a debuff with that last patch. And also all Mammoth attack intervals, so how often they attack, went from 3 seconds to 3.8, which is a pretty huge increase in terms of attack intervals. So yeah, Norska has been debuffed, has been nerfed slightly in that last patch. Kind of more than slightly. Well, it's probably okay. I'm not entirely sure yet, but it's probably an okay nerf. Because I know a lot of people hate Norska. They think they're OP. I don't think they're OP, but I understand mammoths are intimidating. I do like the cost increase of the Marauder Hunters, though. 400 for these guys, I thought was a little too cheap. 500, I think, is bringing them on board to where they need to be, because their range damage is insane. And 400 was really cheap. I'm assuming they were that cheap because their range is so short, but holy god, these guys are nuts. So the cost increase on those are probably justified. Let's see, and then for Jake, one Demon Griff Knight did fairly well. That was probably the one that charged my Crypt Guard. Oh my god, can you imagine? Crypt Ghouls and like heavy armor, that would be pretty cool. Crypt Ghouls charged them and got a lot of kills off of them, but yeah, like nothing else really shine or shown through here, because it's just a bunch of cheapy infantry, really. So what are they going to do against Norska and the vampire counts? But good game to Punyo, Evo, and Jake. Hope you enjoyed, and let's watch a cinematic view. Yeah, like right here, I should have just flown my Fellbats into these guys. The thing was, I wasn't super concerned with the Free Company Militia. I would be if I had taken a Vargulf, because all of these Free Company firing into your Vargulf, your puppy, that sucks. But against a bunch of like Graveguard and stuff, like I'm like, the Free Company Militia aren't really going to do too much against my army. They did do some damage, for sure. It's not like they don't do anything. But these guys I'd be more concerned about if I had, again, if I had Vargulfs. Or like a Terra guys. Meanwhile, over here at the other Empire player, Mammoths! Mammoths in a tight grouping, no less. These poor Empire soldiers had no choice or chance. And then following up with a charge of Berserkers. So yeah, like they were even deployed in like a box formation, but again, the things they were protecting were nothing impressive. 2 crossbows and a cannon. A very odd army. I mean, I get the focus on like all their spears and halberds because they're facing off against the Counts and Norska, who both have very strong, low-armored monster creatures. I get that. Although in the case of Norska, they do actually have a lot of heavily armored monsters as well. I'm like, you know what, Boris? You enjoy these zombies and the Banshee for a little bit. I'm just gonna be somewhere else. I'm gonna be over here. Free Company Militia. You enjoy all this. Oh yeah, and also you enjoy my friends. I mean, you're trying to get away. There's the invocation, and then the dweller spell. There it is. we're like, nope, nope. Get those Blood Knights out of there. Do not want. Oh boy.
Enemy wizard spotted.
Yeah, at one point I charged their people that came back from routing.
My Sigma! They come from behind!
And there we go. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you all in the next one.